Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you how to do problems 15 and 16 from the Algebra 2 Notes 6.5. On the last page, this is problems 15 and 16. Now, before I actually start the two problems from the notes, problems 15 and 16, I want to develop a formula that's going to be helpful to you, and I just randomly call this the Happy Cat formula. All right, so polynomials sometimes have complex number answers. So we got here, let me just highlight the one I'm looking at here. We have a complex answer of 2 minus 5i. Now, these answers always come in pairs. So there's 2 minus 5i and its conjugate 2 plus 5i. You'll change the sign that's in front of the I, or in some cases when you just have a square root, you change the sign in front of the square root. The other sign doesn't change. Now, you're going to try to recreate the polynomial that has these two answers. And you do that by simply putting each of these answers behind x minus. So if you had, just to give you a simpler example, an answer of 8, you would put it behind a minus sign, and when you set that equal to 0, you'd be back full circle and you have x equals 8. So you simply put it behind the minus sign. So you're going to see me do that in a minute here. Now, this is going to be a long, drawn-out process, and the whole purpose here is for me to give you a shorter version of it. So bear with me. It's going to take me 2 pages of doing harder stuff before I can get to the easier version of it. So we have two answers, 2 plus 5i, and its conjugate, 2 minus 5i. All right, now there's going to be some really tedious work here, and this eventually is what we're going to be trying to avoid. Okay, first times first is going to give x squared. The outside one is going to give minus x times 2 minus 5i. I'll try to keep this from being too cluttered. This inside one is minus x times 2 plus 5i. And then we're going to multiply the last part times the last part, which is these two answers. Now there's a minus sign on each, so I'll start with a plus, since negative times negative gives positive. And we'll find out what 2 plus 5i times 2 minus 5i is in a minute. Okay, the x squared's already good. We're just going to copy that. We got some distributing to do here. More distributing down here. And multiplying complex numbers, you're better off doing FOIL in a slightly different order. I'll do first times first, last times last, before I pick up the outside and the inside. So here it's minus 10i on the outside and plus 10i on the inside. Now you may have noticed already that there's some stuff that cancels. These two terms cancel, and those two terms on the end also cancel out. So we end up with the x squared, and we're going to combine the minus 2x and minus 2x to get minus 4x. And then what we have on this part here is a situation where the I squared crosses off and you get a plus 25. So it's going to be plus 29 down there. And here is the trinomial that yields these two answers. So we work backwards. Normally we start out with the trinomial and ask what the answers are, but this time we went from the answers to the trinomial. And that was a lot of work. So you might feel like this student. Dear Mr. Peterson, do you really expect me to do all that work for a single problem? Would you please make a formula that will find the polynomial more quickly? Yours truly, Sad Cat. So I wrote this student back. Dear Sad Cat, sure, Mr. Peterson. And I'm generally a happy person, so I'm going to call this my Happy Cat formula. Just a random name I came up with. It's a specialized formula. It's not used very much, just used in this context. So what you're going to see me do here, and you probably see it, it's written out here, is this is the same work done with just a plus bi and a minus bi, the conjugate. And I did the exact same work, so let me point out a few places where I did some work here. First times first is this part. The outside pair is this part. The inside pair is shown next. And this last one turns this last one, gives that whole back half there. Then you do some distributing here and here. That'll give all of this. And you do some foiling up here, although I do it in the reverse order here. First times first is this one. Then I go with last times last to give, oh, I guess I just foiled it. That's this one down here. And then the outside and the inside are shown here. And a bunch of stuff cancels. These two cancel, and these two also cancel. And then we have the situation where you have an I squared down there. I squared times negative b. You cross out the I squared and change the sign. So it boils down to this little formula down here. X squared minus 2 times the a value in front of the x. And then your constant's always a squared plus b squared. It kind of sounds like the Pythagorean theorem there. Okay, so here's what I call the happy cat formula. And I want to keep all you cats happy. All right, so let's use it so you can see how this works. It's going to be a lot less work this time. So the first thing you want to identify is what a and b are. A is 3, and b is the negative 2 value. Once you've done that, you just plug into the formula. The formula starts with an x squared. Then it goes minus 2 times the a value, which is 3 in this problem, and then x. And then you see at the back there, you take a squared plus b squared. So 3 squared is 9. Negative 2 times itself is 4. And that'll turn out to be 13. So this is the final answer there. That is the polynomial that has answers of 3 minus 2i, and incidentally it would have another answer, the conjugate one, which would be 3 plus 2i. So there it is. There's the factor. Okay, so I'm going to do another example, but this time it's directly from the notes. This is problem 15 on page 6 of the 6.5 notes. Didn't get to it in class, so here we go. So you're going to set up 3 separate parentheses, all starting the same way. Then you're going to stick these answers in. The first one is negative 1. The second one is 2 minus 3i. And the third one is its conjugate, which is 2 plus 3i. And we're going to use the happy cat formula on the back part of this. But first of all, the front, if you have the double negative, is just plus 1. Okay, the happy cat formula would be x squared. And the a value here is 2. The b value is negative 3. So I want negative 2 times the a value in front of the x. And then at the back, you want a squared, which is 4, plus the b squared. And negative 3 times itself is 9. And we'll shorten this to x plus 1 times, so we're multiplying that by x squared minus 4x plus 13. Okay, and at this point, we don't have any of the complications of the top part. So we're just going to multiply this out. We'll distribute the x all the way down first. That'll give x cubed minus 4x squared, and then x times 13, or 13x. Then we distribute the 1 all the way down. I'll put the like terms over each other here. 1 times negative 4x would come next, and 1 times 13 to finish it off. So the polynomial that has the answers 1 and 2 minus 3i would be x cubed minus 3x squared plus 9x plus 13, and this should equal 0 here. And you can check this by taking this value and substituting for x right there to see if it zeroes out. And if you'll set your calculator in complex a plus bi mode, then you can do the same thing. You store the 2 minus 3i, retype that, and see if it still zeroes out. And that'll tell you if you've got the right answers. Okay, there's another example of this here. And this is one with conjugates on both parts. Anytime you have a square root or you have I, and really those are the same thing since I is defined to be the square root of -1, you always have conjugate answers. So we have these answers. There's 4 of them. Okay, the first pair, we have x minus 2i and x minus a -2i. And then we have x minus 1 minus 3i. There's the third answer. And we have x minus 1 plus 3i, the conjugate answer down there. Okay, this combination here is just x plus 2i. Hang on. The front one is still minus 2i. And the back one is x plus 2i. We'll multiply those later. And we'll throw the happy cat formula at this back half here since it's a complex number. It's going to be x squared minus 2 times the a value, x, plus the a squared, that'd be 1, plus the b squared, which is 9. And we'll simplify that later. Meantime, we're going to multiply this. That's x squared plus 2ix minus 2ix. Those will cancel off. And here is minus 4i squared. Let me get that written carefully. Cancel those off. And the back half, when you simplify it, is x squared minus 2x plus 10. Okay, so now we have x squared plus 4. You can see that this part here becomes plus 4 if you cancel the I squared and change the sign. And the back half, we already know it's x squared minus 2x plus 10. So now we just have to multiply these out. Start by multiplying that x squared all the way down over here. You get x to the 4th minus 2x to the 3rd plus 10x squared. And then the 4 all the way down. 4x squared minus 8x plus 40. And then we add our like terms. There's only 2 of them that are like. X to the 4th minus 2x cubed plus 14x squared minus 8x plus 40 equals 0. There you go. That is the equation whose solutions are listed up there. So you could turn your calculator on to a plus bi mode and type all of that to see if it zeroes out to check this answer. And that does it for the last page of the notes.